I'm Hugh Hewitt. United States Senator Tom Cotton is from Arkansas. He is not only chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, he's also chairman of the Republican Conference in the Senate. Senator, welcome. There's a lot going on in the Middle East today. Secretary Rubio is there. And I'm curious whether or not you are alarmed by reports that some of our Arab allies are considering breaching their deals with Israel.
Hugh, it's good to be on with you. I'm glad to see Secretary Rubio in Israel. I know he's been there for the past couple of days. There's been very moving images of him. Huckabee praying at the Western Wall, and obviously they're closely on the next steps to not end the war in Gaza, but to win the war in Gaza, to totally and completely destroy Hamas and to completely rip it out root and branch from that soil, from the broader Middle East. I don't want to get into too much speculation about what our Arab friends may or may not do. My recommendation, obviously, would be that the Abraham Accords have been a great source of security and prosperity for them and will be going forward, and we'd like to see them expanded in some way to other nations, too. And as they saw over the summer, Israel and the United States are by far the best friends and partners they can have, both for their own security and to help grow the economy, China.
Do you think, Senator, you're breaking up a little bit, so I'm sorry if I stepped on you there a little bit. Do you think if Egypt were to withdraw from the Camp David Accords, as President Sisi has intimated but not actually threatened, that it would impact the relationship of Egypt with the United States, or ought to?
Well, I think regrettably it would. Again, I have not seen such a threat or a desire to consider it, and we hope those are just ill-founded rumors. Obviously, it would lead to an immediate change of the situation in the Sinai and on the Israeli and Egyptian border, because the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt, going back now almost 50 years, along with the slightly younger peace agreement with Jordan, is foundational to Israel's security and to our alliance and security structure in the Middle East. So I hope that all of our Arab friends will realize that they want to cast their lot with Israel and the United States, not with any other nations.
Do you believe that in the United States, last night were the Emmys, and we had the usual denunciation of Israel from inside Hollywood crowd. I don't think it moves public opinion at all. I think public opinion is solidly behind the Jewish state and will remain there in America. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, no question, Hugh. Certainly among Republicans and independents, which make up a pretty sizable majority now of public opinion, support for Israel is rock solid. Even among Democrats, some older Democrats or more moderate Democrats around the country, they still support Israel. What you do have is a very vocal, very animated, in some cases very violent, left-wing faction of pretty much openly anti-Zionist and even anti-Semitic Democrats on the far left.
So, Senator, I want to turn to the continuing resolution that Leader Thune is attempting to navigate. Senator Schumer has said it's got to have A, B, and C added to it. In the House, Congressman Cole has said, we may want to address some security issues in the aftermath of Charlie's murder, but we don't want anything else. What's the status of the CR as opposed to appropriations bills that might deal with Obamacare?
Yeah, Hugh, I can't give you the up-to-the-minute status, but as of this morning, I think we are waiting for the House of Representatives to release the text of the bill. I've spoken with both the Speaker and John Thune in the last couple of days, and they expect it to be a very straightforward continuing resolution that funds the government at past levels through, say, the week before Thanksgiving. And that'll give the Congress time to get the work done that Chuck Schumer has prevented us from doing by blockading all of our nominees, tying up the Senate, which is passing the annual spending bills. Again, this is something Chuck Schumer never did in 4 years when he ran the Senate, because he wanted to hold all that power for himself. Republicans would like to have an orderly process where everyone gets a say. We get to address each other's priorities, the priorities of our states. Again, I think that's where we're going. It could include some small modifications, Hugh. Like I know the president's budget people sent forward a request for increased security for the president and for the judiciary. We would certainly be mindful of that, and I'd personally be supportive of moving forward with it. I don't know if they've developed any recommendations for enhanced security at the Capitol or for senators and congressmen, but I'd be willing to consider that as well. But other than those small matters, I don't think you see anything coming out of the House or the Senate other than just a straightforward, simple resolution that keeps the government funded and gives Congress time to finish our main work, which is passing the annual spending bills. And if Chuck Schumer wants to shut down the government over that, well, I guess we're going to have a Schumer shutdown then.
All right. Now I want to change over to my friend Charlie and colleague Charlie. Vice President Vance sat in for him today on the Salem Network on the Charlie Kirk Show, and I've been playing bits of that. People can find the entire program online. And then Justice Barrett was my guest earlier today, and I'm playing that interview across 3 hours so that people in every hour can hear the justice talk about her book, Listening to Law. But she remarked on the somber nature of the campus at Notre Dame, where she had done a talk this weekend after I talked to her on Wednesday, everything sort of having changed in the younger generation. Has it been the source of a lot of concern or just a different mood in the Senate since that happened?
Well, Hugh, obviously I want to express my deepest condolences to Eric Kirk, Charlie's widow, and to his 2 young children and his family and friends and all those who were touched by his remarkable work among America's youth. And I think we need to put it in broader context. There's the immediate context of his murderer, who I gather will face the death penalty, and he should. But also the trend of left-wing violence in this country. I'm sorry, Hugh, that this may offend some, but this is not a problem on both sides. Political violence in America is almost exclusively left-wing violence directed at people on the right. Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, Brett Kavanaugh, members of Congress at a congressional baseball practice, all attacked by left-wing activists who wanted to kill them, and sadly, in Charlie's case, who succeeded. I know the media loves to throw out other examples, but those are a horse of a different color. Paul Pelosi was attacked by a homeless schizophrenic. Those 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota were attacked by a Tim Walz supporter. Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, had his mansion burned by a left-wing pro-Hamas activist for not being left-wing enough. And unfortunately, Hugh, you see it in public opinion polling as well. Almost no Republicans condone or celebrate violence, and a lot of Democrats, when asked in those polls, do. Or Hugh, I think you can just see it in the contrast of what's happened over the last 4 or 5 days in America. When Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered last week, his supporters held prayer vigils. When George Floyd died, his supporters burned down American cities in some of the worst riots ever. So political violence in America is almost exclusively left-wing violence, and the left in America needs to address it. And the administration, I'm pleased to say, is going to investigate the networks that are behind some of the funding and support that you've seen, for instance, in the riots in Portland in 2020. They should, and we should support them.
I heard Steve Miller vow that to the vice president today. I was glad to hear it. Senator Cotton, thank you for your time today and for your comments about Charlie. Much appreciated by everyone across the Salem News Channel, the Salem Radio Network, Salem Media as a whole. Thank you, Senator Tom Cotton.